How's it going, everybody? This is Cameron White with White Light Astrology, giving you guys your weekly forecast of what the heck is going on in the universe. I want to thank you guys for watching all my videos. If you like them, please feel free to subscribe, give me a comment, give me a like. I super appreciate it. Follow me on Facebook at White Light Astrology or on Twitter at White Light Cam. I also have a class coming up this Tuesday at Enchanted Forest Reiki Center here in Las Vegas. If you guys are local, tickets are $20 and information is going to be in the links below. I'd love to see you guys there, 7 p.m. All about this Jupiter and Scorpio, just getting into the manifesting season and how we could really, get down to the core of what Jupiter and Scorpio is really all about and how we can interpret it in our lives as well. If you guys are interested in getting a reading or consulting with me, feel free to give me an email at whitelightastrology@gmail.com, and I will talk to you guys soon. However, let's talk about this week. Last week was not in my opinion, and also my experience, I'm a Libra moon, so this full moon in Aries just always jacks me up. And then plus, I also have Mars and Venus conjunct in Gemini, and Mars and Venus just conjuncted in Virgo, so it's square in mine. So this last week for me was a little bit intense. However, overall, this moon in Aries, gave us a lot to really reflect on. It gave us a lot of energy to really go through and to experience. And this next week is really going to be setting us up for how we really use it. This week we have Venus, we had Venus past Mars as the moon shines it in Taurus. That's going to be happening on today, Sunday, and tomorrow, and also Saturday and Friday, whatever, on the 5th. We've been dealing with that Mars and Venus conjunction for a second now. Jupiter enters Scorpio on Tuesday. We have a grand cardinal cross on Thursday. We have a grand fire trine as the moon in Leo conjuncts the North Node on Saturday, as well as Venus entering Libra on Saturday as well. Then we have Mercury, Sun, and Jupiter all opposing Uranus Monday through next Wednesday. And then next week we have Mercury entering Scorpio. However, before we get into next week, let's talk about this week. So again, there is a lot going on. The biggest thing that I want to talk about at this moment is Mars and Venus opposing Chiron this week. Chiron is sitting there, I think, at 26 degrees Pisces, and we have Mars and Venus doing this, a beautiful conjunction, as it always does. And as it's opposing Chiron, it's this whole thing between getting our thoughts clear and actually acting upon that clear intuition and rational thinking, rather than going for what doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, if it's not grounded, if it's just out there and weird, people will just go for it. And with Mars and Venus opposing it, it can bring a lot of pain for going towards things and having actions having your intentions not focused and not clear. Mars and Venus conjunct make you, it brings a lot to it, because you have the masculine, you have the feminine, they're bringing themselves together, they're expressing themselves in this Virgo energy of being grounded, being stable. It's also, this is a mutable sign, so we're dealing with a lot of anxiety stuff, we're dealing with a lot of mental stuff right now. And with Mars and Venus opposing Chiron, the biggest thing right now is it's like, okay, is this appropriate to be coming from a space of, Pisces, of your intuition and your fantasy? And, you got to remember Neptune's in Pisces too, which is just kind of highlighting the whole Pisces factor of, it's really confusing right now. People are, looking to pick a side. People are wanting to channel their higher selves. The realms of reality are so confusing looking right now, yet so beautiful at the same time. It's this spark of creation. It's this, this weird part where it's like, you think if you're watching a movie, you think it's about to end, but it doesn't, and it just kind of keeps going. Like, that's that Pisces energy. So with Mars and Venus opposing Chiron, be really careful where you take your actions this week. Don't get too overly focused. Things have to look a certain way. Trust the process. However, don't be so wrapped up in the illusion. Don't get caught up in the fantasy. Get back down to reality and what's going on with that. That's going to be happening on Sunday and Monday, and then this whole week is when Mars and Venus are going to be opposing Chiron, so keep that in mind. Sun and Mercury are going to be conjuncting, Sun and Mercury are going to be conjuncting as well. That's going to be going on Monday. So with Sun and Mercury conjuncting, we're now in Libra season, of course. Libra season's so, just social. It's not like, an Earth season where we're, grounded, things are happening. It's not this or this or that. Air seasons are kind of well, let's just kick back and let's just look at things and talk about things and talk to people and think. So it's not really, this crazy energy. However, with Mercury passing the Sun, now we got Mercury going in we got Mercury going in front of the Sun. With Mercury going in front of the Sun, it's time to think about things before we start stepping into them. Look at yourself and go, okay, how's the relationship with me? Because we also have the Sun and Mercury going through everything Jupiter's been going through this past year. So now we're really bringing the highlighted sense of what we all learned with this Jupiter and Libra transition this transit of Jupiter and Libra. And with the Sun and Mercury going through there, it's time to bring it to ourselves, time to actually wear that energy of what our beliefs were, what we experienced with Jupiter and Libra as far as the relationship with ourselves, as far as the relationship with other people. And this week, as Mercury goes in front of it, think about things before you even take something on. You know, with the Sun in front of Mercury, it's kind of like you're just wearing energy that you may not even be aware of. You haven't processed it yet. However, with Mercury going in front of the Sun, now it's time to think about things before we get involved in them, before it starts changing us. So really take a look at this week of what this whole past year's been about with Jupiter and Libra, and go back to, you know, what was your relationship with people? What was your relationship with yourself? What did you learn? What did you experience? And what was, you know, just? What was disorderly? What was, you know, it's not about saying who was, you know, fair and who was wrong and who was right and picking sides. This is about just looking at it. It's like a courtroom examination. Like, it's not even about, like, yes, of course, it's about one side being wrong, one side being right. However, when you go to a courtroom and you're one of the jury, it's just about going, you know, what is the evidence? Let's take a look at everything. Then on Tuesday, Jupiter enters Scorpio. We got it, like, we're finally fucking here. After all this, you know, full moon in Aries intensity, we have Jupiter going into Scorpio, and as it's going into Scorpio, it's going to be opposing Mercury, Sun. I mean, it's going to be conjuncting Mercury and Sun, and then it's going to be opposing Uranus. As Jupiter opposes Uranus, we already got done with this transition. Uranus is also now squaring Pluto, where Jupiter and Scorpio rules, like Pluto rules Scorpio. So we have Uranus squaring Pluto. This is very, very intense realizations, very, very intense, you know, just chaoticness. Uranus rules extreme ups and downs. Uranus rules your higher consciousness, your inspiration. It's ecstasy. Like, Neptune is ecstasy, the drug, while Uranus is ecstasy, the embodiment of the drug, like feeling it and expressing it and wearing it, while Neptune is like, let's get lost in this. And as Uranus is opposed to Jupiter, you know, it's just kind of like things are just like, you know, this is crazy here and this is, you know, kind of cool, but then all of a sudden it just turns into something else that's crazy. And as the Sun and Mercury start conjuncting Jupiter and we start getting ready for our Sun-Jupiter day, which is always an amazing day, we have all this opposing Uranus. And right now, this is about you being yourself. Uranus and Aries, self-empowerment, self-independence, you know, liberation of yourself. This is about empowering yourself, looking at who you are. And you can also notice when you step into that role, into that power, of how dramatic it is. It can feel very like, ooh, like it's kind of like, you know, one little movement and all of a sudden a whole, you know, world shifts. It's kind of like, I can't remember the story to save my life, but Ray Bradbury had a book about it, where these people got to travel back in time and they went off the path they were supposed to go to and they crushed a butterfly. And when they went back to the future, because of that action, the sky was orange and everyone had tails and they were all breathing like helium or something like that. And that's kind of like this Uranus and Aries feeling, especially opposing all of this Libra stuff, and especially with Jupiter going to Scorpio. It's kind of like, you be careful about where you're getting your energy into right now. You don't want, I mean, I shouldn't say you don't want things. If you want things to blow up in your face, go for it. Go, you know what I mean? Go crazy. However, with Uranus and Aries, you know, it's also retrograde right now. This is all internal work. This is all inside of you. What are we experiencing? What are we going through? And as we have our Libra season, this is about experiencing it through our relationships with people, experiencing it through our one-on-one contacts and what that, you know, means to us. So with Jupiter going into Scorpio now, I'll get back to that. Jupiter going to Scorpio is all about getting real fucking serious. Pardon my French. I'm actually working on not cussing as much in my videos, but sometimes it needs to, because this is also Scorpio energy. But get down to the nitty-gritty of what your beliefs are. What, you know, with Jupiter and Scorpio, we're going to start experiencing, like, if we think anything negative, if we think anything bad, and we get caught in that cycle, we're going to stay there. This is about beliefs right now. And with Jupiter going through Scorpio, this is a great time to dissolve and purge any of these negative beliefs and turn them into healthy ones. Scorpio's the phoenix rising. This is about self, you know, expansion, enlightenment, ascension. However, this is also talking about going as deep down into the bullshit as you possibly can. So with Jupiter and Scorpio, be very mindful of where your feelings are, where your thoughts go to. You know, how deep are you taking them? This is the time for self-forgiveness. This is the time to expand on what things mean to you, what you believe in, what your passions are, what your desires are, what sexually, you know, gets you stimulated as well. This is Scorpio energy, and you want that. You know, if you ever read Think and Grow Rich, God, it's like the best book I could ever think of for this specific subject of sexual transmutation, and taking the sexual energy and transmuting it into any other possible thing. And that's what Scorpio is all about, that desire, desire, that raw intensity of, you know, that sexual intimacy brings, and you got to be able to transmute that into your belief system. It's kind of like, you know, if you really want to have sex with someone, you're going to probably figure out a way, as far as like the masculine energy type goes. However, when you get into that thought process of, this is what I want, this is what I desire, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to that point, you got to be able to bring that belief system and into that idea into every other area of your life, because it's going to show up a lot. So Jupiter going to Scorpio, be very mindful of where your mind's at. Don't get lost in the bullshit. Don't beat yourself up. This is not the time. We're not going to that dark place anymore. What we experienced the last like 4 or 5 years, we're not going there anymore. We're done with that. But we're going to be looking at it and evaluating it, and we're going to see, what does that mean to us. We get the opportunity to do something with it. So be very mindful this next year. I'm going to be talking a lot about it through my videos for this next year. However, that's what I wanted to tee you guys up with. Then we have a grand cardinal cross with the moon going through Cancer on Thursday, and Wednesday and Thursday is the moon's in Cancer. It's going to be trining Neptune, trining Jupiter, squaring Sun and Mercury, and then it'll be squaring Uranus, opposing Pluto. It's going to be doing all this crazy stuff, and this moon in Cancer is going to feel like, you know, because today we have the moon void, of course, in Taurus. So, and this is also before the full moon in Scorpio next month. However, as it goes through Gemini, we're going to be looking at new things. We're going to be understanding more, bringing it to our emotional awareness. It's going to be kind of like wearing our heart on our sleeves a little bit, because it's going to be a lot of impulsive energy, especially as it starts trining Sun and Mercury. And then as the moon goes into Cancer on Wednesday and Thursday, we have this grand cardinal cross. We got to figure out what's right. What means what to us? You know, what are our values? Where are our morals? Where do we need to direct these type of things? And so be very mindful of that. Don't beat yourself up. Don't close yourself in with this moon in Cancer. Express yourself. Be vulnerable. Get nurturing. If you got a mom and you love her, give your mom a call. You know, stuff like that. Talk to your friends. Be open and social. And it's going to be a little bit hard, because we got Uranus and Pluto here, and they're never going to make anything easy. They're going to make things very, very extreme. However, going through this process is what's going to help you later on this week, when we have what's going on. We have the grand fire trine with Uranus, Saturn, and the moon, as the moon goes over the north node. And so as the moon goes over the north node, it's kind of like, okay, we're back in the space of where the eclipses were, where we should be going, the direction we should be heading in, and it's going to be trining Saturn and Uranus. We're going to be feeling that impulsive energy of, you know, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be stretching myself and going past the boundaries and the limits that I've set myself in my belief system because of Saturn and Sagittarius. However, as it's also trining Uranus and Aries, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good to go towards this area, and you can't not let yourself do that. Having all this built up masculine energy is going to really dim your light. So be careful where you're putting your energy with this moon in Cancer. Moon in Gemini, you're going to be kind of like everywhere, but when the moon goes through Cancer this week, be very mindful of where your emotions at. Feel free to open up to someone, to let it all out. Trust yourself. Trust other people. We're in Libra season. Trust people. Fuck. God. And shit, as we have this grand fire trine, it's just going to be all this heightened energy with it. So keep that in mind. Then Venus enters Libra. Venus entering Libra is going to bring so much more peace into this, because Venus does rule Libra. Quincunx is Taurus. Taurus and Libra are kind of like, you know, God, what's the best way to describe Taurus and Libra? They're like sisters, but like best friend sisters, I guess that's the best way to put it. And as Venus goes through Libra, this is a time to bring balance, bringing harmony, bringing peace, bringing beauty to everything. Don't forget, you know, with Mars and Venus and Virgo, it's like, oh man, we got to be analytical. We got to figure out what we're doing. However, now when Venus goes into Libra, open yourself up. Bring balance, bring peace, bring order. It can be a little bit frustrating. You can feel very indecisive. You can kind of go towards the feelings of others rather than yourself. But take that personal power within you and use it for yourself. You can't keep giving to people if you don't have anything to give. So give to yourself with this Venus in Libra. Then when Mars goes into Libra, then we'll talk about giving to other people and really bringing that balance out into our relationships. However, that's basically it. Damn, I got to cover it all. I wanted to, really. Sunday, the moon is going to be in Virgo. It's going to be sextiling Jupiter, opposing Neptune. After that whole, you know, moon in Leo thing, we're going to be like, okay, what do we want to do with it? It's going to be opposing Neptune. We got to get clear. We got to get out of the illusion. We got to get out of the, you know, headspace of all the spiritual stuff, because this is the reality we live in. We chose to live in it. We chose to be here. Let's be here, not in these other realms of consciousness and stuff like that. There's no need for that when we're here. So be very mindful of that. And then we got the new moon in Libra. We got Venus going, we have the new moon in Libra, and then we got Mercury entering Scorpio. We got a couple other things going on next week. And next week's going to be just as big as this week. However, this week, you're going to find yourself changing. You're going to find yourself having to trust, having to release, having to surrender. And don't beat yourself up. Have fun with it. This is a good week. We got Jupiter going to Scorpio. Let's get intense. I always look at Scorpio as kind of like, you know, if you're riding, if you get in a car with someone that you know is gonna go 1,000,000 miles an hour and put your life at risk, would you rather sit there and be scared the whole time? Or would you rather just go, fuck it, let's enjoy it while we're here. If we get killed, we get killed. I wanna at least have fun. That's Scorpio energy. So have fun with this Jupiter and Scorpio. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get all, you know, crazy with the manic depression and go all insano with that stuff, because you totally can. This is about taking that same insane, intense, desired energy of negativity, of beating yourself up, of going into the lowest places that you can within yourself. This is about taking that and flipping it. You know, you can go 1,000,000 miles an hour in the wrong way, or you can just turn yourself around and go 1,000,000 miles an hour in the right way. That's the big thing with Jupiter and Scorpio. However, besides that, guys, that's what I got for you. I love every single one of you. I'm sending you guys lots of white light, lots of love, lots of abundance. Thank you guys so much for sharing, commenting, subscribing, liking, talking to me, being my friend, being alive, being you. Thank you all for doing everything, and I will be seeing you guys next week.